Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Sarah Schultz and I am a realtor in the Northern Nevada market, serving Reno and all the surrounding areas. And on today's video, I'll be answering what may be a burning question for you if you're thinking about making a move this year. Is it still a good time to move to Reno? This is a 2025 update, and also we are in the midst of a market shift, my friends. So you may be kind of reading the headlines, feeling a little bit unsure, a little bit uneasy, and I just welcome you to the club. I'm eating it up. We all are. Anyone who's in this industry has been on the ultimate roller coaster ride for like 5 years now. It's never a dull day, and I wouldn't change it for the world, but do have to go into this really informed about what's going on. If you have managed to miss all of the scary headlines about the market crash and the buyer's market and this and that, and listings are sitting and we're seeing all this inventory. Okay, some of that is true. Inventory is piling up. The market is softening. However, the word crash shouldn't even be anywhere to be seen at the moment. Yes, prices are holding strong. They are plateauing. We're not seeing the same level of growth that we had seen for the past 5 years, but that doesn't mean that there is a crash. People are sitting on so much equity, especially those who bought, pre-2020. To really understand where we are at and how we got here, we do have to kind of backtrack to the 2020, 2021, maybe even 2022 frenzy. We were in hyperdrive back in those years because COVID had just happened. No one knew what was going to happen. Mortgage interest rates were slashed in order to artificially prevent collapse. And obviously, when the cost of borrowing money goes down, it drives competition up, right? Because it makes borrowing more affordable, which means more people can afford to buy houses. But what that did was drive prices up astronomically at a crazy pace, right? So it was a complete frenzy here, is what I'm trying to say. We were seeing double-digit appreciation, multiple offers on nearly every single listing, buyers waiving inspections, appraisals, paying all cash, paying sight unseen, homes selling in a matter of days, and sometimes even a matter of hours or even a matter of minutes if it was a really hot listing. Like, this is real. This is really happening. In 2023 and 24, we saw things kind of begin to stabilize, right? And that's when mortgage interest rates started climbing. We saw more balanced conditions. We saw a slight softening of prices. A lot of people who could afford to buy a home with a 2.5% interest rate could not afford to buy a home with a 5 or 6% interest rate. It was weeding out a lot of the competition, which then cools the market. These are all levers that can be pulled. We saw a return to somewhat normal negotiations. So where we sit right now is that inventory levels are the highest they've been in 5 years, which means buyers have a lot more choices. Sellers are getting antsy. Days on market have increased because listings are sitting for longer before they are getting accepted offers and going under contract. Again, good news for buyers. It gives you a little bit more time to be discerning, make decisions. Bad news for sellers because it's going to make you antsy and maybe make you cave into lowball offers or whatever the circumstances are, but days on market are increasing. Pricing is a lot more realistic now than it was during the frenzy time, right? Like, we're not seeing, for the most part, there are exceptions to everything, but for the most part, it's not the norm, I should say, for people to just be buying sight unseen from out of state, waiving everything, paying cash, beating out like everyone else in the market with their crazy cash offer. So we're no longer in this feeding frenzy, and that is not a bad thing. Here are some of the upsides of buying in this more balanced / buyer leaning market, I would say, compared to the market that we were in before. You hold the negotiating power as the buyer, right? In 2021, you may not have even had your offer looked at or considered because there were so many offers on every property that unless you were like the shiny gold star of the bunch, like, you weren't even being considered. Cut to today, you can negotiate on price. You can ask for seller concessions for rate buydowns, repairs, closing costs, things like that. You can do all the inspections under the sun that you feel like doing, and I would love to facilitate that for you. And you can move at a much more thoughtful pace. Buyers were buying without any kind of care. It was like this act of desperation, like, I need to have it, and I'm making this like impulsive gotta have it decision without really understanding fully what I'm buying, right? And we're done with that. Now you can kind of like chill out, relax. I mean, this isn't true for every single listing. There are going to be listings that are still very hot, but in the meantime, Like a lot of listings are sitting for 30 to 60 days. So you have time to really think. Sellers are a lot more open to creative strategies, creative problem solving, conversations, being a little bit more flexible. This is all really good news for buyers. Seller concessions are going to be really, really big in this market. Sellers are just out the door offering a lot of incentives on certain listings. Sellers are offering credits to help buy down interest rates. They are offering to cover some or all of your closing costs. If they're not offering, repair credits after the inspections are done, a lot of them are actually doing pre-listing inspections just so that they know going into the fire what they're in for. And a lot of them are just going ahead and making those repairs in advance of the listing or early on in the listing just so that it's done and they don't have to negotiate that. And a lot of this stuff is listed right in the description on the listing. So just keep your eyes open for that kind of language, seller concessions, right? Because that is going to be a huge, huge thing that you can leverage to your advantage. All right, let's talk about the more inventory factor. In the peak market, in those early days of like the COVID frenzy, we would be lucky to find maybe 3 to 5 on a good day listings that matched a buyer's criteria and their budget. The house hunting process was a lot more paperwork heavy. It was like, go see all 3 houses and write all the offers until one of them, throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks. Versus right now, what's happening is it's a lot more legwork, a lot less paper. Like we're not writing offers on all these houses. I had buyers in town a month ago. We looked at 49 houses. I have buyers coming into town this weekend. We're looking at 15 houses. There are a lot more options. It's a lot more boots on the ground, actually looking at stuff. More so than it is paperwork up front. That's not to say there's not a lot of paperwork. I always say you sign about 1,000 pieces of paper when you buy a house. So we're gonna do all that eventually. But as far as like writing offers and stuff, it's the work for the buyer on the buyer's side right now is more in the actual shopping process. You have so much more variety to choose from. So you can afford to be a little bit picky and discerning and selective. These are all good things for you guys. This is especially helpful for relocators who can't necessarily jump on the first thing that they see that they like. We can explore different neighborhoods, compare different options, and find the best possible fit for your lifestyle. Let's talk about mortgage interest rates because obviously those have a huge impact for buyers, specifically those who are purchasing with a loan. Obviously, rates are a lot higher now than they were in 2021. There's no sugarcoating that. Those rates are gone. We'll probably never see them again. Those were pretty artificial. I mean, they were put in place to prevent a collapse during COVID. That was a worldwide emergency. Who really knows? But I don't really see that happening. So we need to let that go. And it sounds collectively like maybe we have. Here's the bigger picture, though, that you need to understand. Unlike that time frame when rates were low and borrowing money was a lot more affordable, now they're higher, but hey, you're not going to be paying $50,000 to $100,000 over asking, over property value in a bidding war because the demand isn't the same as it was because mortgage interest rates have suppressed buying power. High prices have suppressed buying power. So these things are contributing to the overall competition in the market, which is keeping buyer competition at bay. Obviously, too, with mortgage rates, they're not forever. They do fluctuate. Sometimes some buyers, some individuals have the option to refinance. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes the cost of doing that is worth it, and sometimes it isn't. You guys, a lot of predatory lenders and realtors in the internet world are out there doing the whole marry the house, date the rate. I just can't because not everybody understands and not everybody's being educated about the cost of refinancing, and not everybody at the point where they're ready to refinance their home, not everybody's going to qualify to do that. And so it's not just something that's a given or that can automatically happen for a buyer or a homeowner down the line. So that should be a little bit more clearly stated in my opinion. So in summary, if you want my honest, wholeheartedly honest advice about whether or not right now is the good time for you to buy and relocate, I don't know because I'm not you. It truly does depend on your situation. It's not a one size fits all cookie cutter response. So the best time for you to buy or sell or do anything in life is when it's the right time for you. All right. Now we got that off the table. Here's like my realtor advice. If you are relocating for work or family or lifestyle, waiting probably doesn't make sense. The market might soften further. A lot of people think that it will. However, timing the market and timing the bottom is like nearly impossible. And if you wait, there are all kinds of costs associated with waiting. Maybe paying rent or a number of other things. The cost of potentially moving twice, like that's expensive. So you really want to look at every little thing before you decide and make a really informed decision. I think what makes the most sense and what I would do if I were in your shoes is to focus on your monthly budget, see what is and what isn't realistic for you, what kind of lifestyle you will feel happy and fulfilled, and your timeline for staying in the home, because we're not in a market right now where it makes sense to buy it and then flip, unless you're a flipper. Just buy it at a low price, sell it at a high price with no improvement in between. Like, we're not in that kind of market. So you want to strategize a longer term hold on whatever you're buying. If you are planning to be here for 5 or more years, buying now with negotiation leverage, which is something that buyers definitely have right now, that can set you up really well for your future self down the line. I hope this was helpful. If you are thinking about relocating or if you have any questions about the real estate process, I would love to help you out. You can book a free strategy call with me. There's a link to do that in the show notes below. It's no obligation. I'm not gonna eternally spam you. You will get one text message and one email market update. They both have the market update in them. You'll get one of those each a month, and that's it. That's all you're gonna hear from me after we're done talking, and you can always unsubscribe. But for real, I'm not gonna hound you, harass you, pressure you. That's just so not my vibe, and frankly, I'm really busy. But I would love to be a resource for you. I would love to help you out. I want you to understand what life in Reno looks like, what our market is doing, all of that. Get your questions answered if you just have no idea. Or also, if you have a home that you need to sell in another market, or if you're thinking about buying in another market, I also have really awesome referral partners all over the country who can help, and I would love to connect you with them as well. Don't be shy. Go ahead and book a call. It's free. It's not gonna cost you anything except maybe 30 minutes of both of our time. And I hope to leave you feeling really clear, right? My goal is to give you clarity and calm reassurance of what needs to happen next. And if you haven't already, please smash that like and that subscribe button. I put out new videos each and every week about the Northern Nevada lifestyle, the Reno Sparks housing market, and of course, all things to do with buying and selling real estate. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week.